Sheriff Todd Baxter, employees of Monroe County Sheriff's Office, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, employees of Monroe County District Attorney's Office, Paul C. Messer, James Renzi Jr., Penfield Town Court, Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court. My name is Chris Chichester. I live in Rochester, New York. I've been in jail 6 times. 6 times a prosecutor's not talked in court. What are the names of my prosecutors? District Attorney Sandra Doorley and Deputy District Attorney Perry Duckles. This is the Freedom of Information one I'm going to read. Dated this April 29th. This is easy to do. I'm going to give you my phone number where you can call me and disclose the names. I'm going to give you my email where you can email me, disclose the names. I'm going to give you the address where you contact me with the documentation. It's that simple. Because when I appear in a courtroom, I have a prosecutor signed to that appearance. That's supported by the taxpayers. That's a taxpayer-financed employee. Do you understand how it works in the United States of America with court appearances? The defendant knows the name of the prosecutor, except for me in Monroe County, which are nauseating, disgusting Jonestown. It's the District Attorney's Office of Sandra Doorley. I'm going to read these foils. The first 3 are the prosecutors. Christopher.chichester@mail.com. I'm going to give you my address, my phone number, my email on this. Those are 4 ways you can contact me. Perry Duckles, Mark Monahan, at the District Attorney's Office. For simple disclosure. Freedom of Information Law. Documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester for John P. Lomenzo Jr. Penfield Town Court. What is the name of the prosecutor? Sandra Doorley. April 29th, 2023. Christopher Chichester. C. Chichester, JU04 Gmail. 620 Park Avenue, PMB number 361, Rochester, New York 14604. 813-648-4441. Do you understand these different ways to contact me? Christopher.chichester@mail.com. 1. C. Chichester, JU04 Gmail 2. 620 Park Avenue, PMB 361, Rochester, New York 14604. 3. 813-648-4441. 4 ways to contact me with disclosure of names of prosecutors who are prosecuting me in total silence. Perry Duckles. What's not to understand? You do fail to understand what I'm saying because you're corrupt. And so is your boss, Sandra Doorley. Prosecutors talk in court. How is any citizen anywhere in the state of New York to live to jail when a prosecutor doesn't talk in court? That's happened to me 6 times because this Leviathan at your district attorney's office that has smashed me into a million little pieces. Documentation for the case for Christopher Chichester for John P. Lomenzo Jr. Penfield Town Court. What is the name of the prosecutor? Sandra Doorley. Is this Julian or is this not Julian? Who's not the victor and now sits on Monroe County Court? What's the answer? I looked at her when I went into Penfield Town Court to answer criminal contempt second, where I tell a man on his track that nobody owns the land. Next to my residence, walk back on my residence. Harassment second, where I'm sitting in the back seat of $79,000 Andrew Reality's Monroe County Sheriff's Office vehicle, being charged with arrest second. Talked about that repeatedly. I haven't committed either one of those crimes. I'm past 50 years old. I got a speeding ticket in Albany, New York, speeding ticket in Washington, D.C. I have always known what constitutes a crime. This is because the $79,000 Andrew Reality, $67,000 Shannon Meyer, who don't know what constitutes a crime. I'll look at the prosecutor. I'm in front of this John P. Lomenzo Jr. Perhaps you've noticed there's no jury too often there. There's no table for a prosecutor to sit at. There's no table for a defense attorney to defend. It's not even a witness box for testimony. I'll look right at her. Stone cold silence. She looked down and at the wall to her left. And I thought the minute she starts to accuse me of crime, harassment second, ludicrous fiction in the mind of Andrew Reality. Criminal contempt second, ludicrous fiction in the mind of Shannon Meyer. I'll interrupt her. I do not have counsel because I cannot afford a private defense, and the public defender's office is not notified by this disgusting, sickening 70-year-old hack, John P. Lomenzo Jr., because John P. Lomenzo Jr. wants to send me to jail, just like Paul C. Messer wants to do, who succeeded him. How is any citizen in jail when a prosecutor doesn't talk in court? That is an abomination. If it happened to anybody in your family, Perry Duckles, or Mark Monahan, or Michelle Crowley, or if Julie Hahn's husband was in jail without a prosecutor talking in court, I guarantee Julie Hahn would be in a rage about that. Is Julie Hahn my prosecutor before John P. Lomenzo Jr. or not? If it's not Julie Hahn, Mark Phillips and Regina Harper and Julie Sianka of the Public Defender's Office, who is it? You refuse to answer because you're corrupt. Freedom of information law. Documentation for the case of Christopher Johnson, Paul C. What's the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley? Quote, the prosecutor's not backing down. That's what you, Regina Harper, said to me. Did you talk to this boy, Regina, because you know his name? Regina Harper. Christopher.chichester@mail.com. I only give you my contact information here. Tell me his name. It's corruption not to tell me, Regina Harper. It's corruption, the public defender, Julie Sianka, not to tell me. It's a corruption, assistant public defender, Mark Phillips. What is wrong with you at the public defender's office? Disclosure of public information. What's wrong with you is that you're in fear of the district attorney's office. Are you auditioning for a job to work in the district attorney's office? I'm not trying to be facetious. This boy should be disbarred. I could see him in his three-piece suit, standing there in total silence. And the Monroe County Sheriff Office employees await me. I don't have any due process. He knows he doesn't have to talk. Todd Baxter's fanatics, degenerates, sociopaths are there waiting for me. Paul C. Metro knows he doesn't have to talk. How is this possibly constitutional? Where did my constitutional and civil rights go? I'll tell you where they went. They evaporated. Freedom of information law. Documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester, New York State Supreme Court for Alex Renzi. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra? Whoever this psychopath is, I'm at my temporary residence. I'm in the process of trying to move back to Albany, New York, where I lived for 10 years. And then I get this document in the mail that forces me to go into the supervising judge, Alex Renzi. He's just not any hack at the hackocracy in the United States, New York State Supreme Court. He's the hack of the 18 Supreme Court judges. I did not know that there were 18 over there. He's in there with 25% of the vote or 24% of the vote. It's in that vicinity. Again, these ballot access laws about these judges on courts not even remotely close to 50% on courts where they're not the victor. He at least won, Alex Renzi. So who is it? Perry Douglas, Mark Monahan. Michelle Crowley, you know who it is. You know exactly the identity of this prosecutor assigned to my appearance before Alex Renzi, because this psychopath knows that this psychopath doesn't have to talk. What's this psychopath's name? There were two females standing behind me. I do not know if I have multiple prosecutors. That's the other thing that interests me greatly. Do I now have more than one prosecutor for this revolting sick hack who's paid $208,000, Alex Renzi, or not? You're finished and done. I think that was his exact language. That's not true. Because one of you psychopaths at the district attorney's office can concoct an arrest warrant. I won't be surprised if it's already happened. You'll just follow me in Monroe County somewhere, Todd Baxter. You'll present me to the corrupt judge. I'll be declared guilty. And for the 7th time, I'll be in jail. For the 7th time, I won't be told how long I'm going to be in jail. So, overtime, time and a half. Your employees can double their salaries. Here are the salaries for the district attorney's office right here. Carrie F. Noble, 56,807. Raymond J. Benitez, 104,449 and 71 cents. So, we'll talk about those two momentarily. Total cost of overtime, time and a half. I'll pay beyond the base salaries calculated to Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Todd Baxter. Does this freak Shannon Meyer, who you gave a $16,000 raise to from $67,000 to $83,000, receive overtime? I don't know. You do. Does Michael Houlihan, the freak paid $73,000, make overtime who hit on the private property of my neighbor and lied instead of swung a hammer at him and perjured himself, Michelle Crowley? I don't know. Does $85,000 down Benedetto receive overtime? I believe they all do. What's the answer? So, Freedom of Information Law, April 29th. The total cost of overtime, time and a half, all paid been on base salaries calculated to Monroe County District Attorney's Office, District Attorney Sandra Doorley. His payroll for the District Attorney's Office. How many of you freaks are paid overtime? I believe every single one of you freaks is paid overtime. Here. Perry Douglas, 113,918. So Perry Douglas, who are the freaks that are prosecuting me in total silence? And how many of these freaks here are paid overtime? So, Carrie Noble, 56,807.70. Do you exist about $75,000, $80,000, Carrie Noble, with overtime? Raymond G. Benitez, 104,449 and 71 cents. See, it existed about $150,000. Does anybody here on the payroll of the District Attorney's Office, Sandra Doorley, make more money than her with overtime? Because her salary is $210,000. What's the answer to that? I know you're not going to answer me. I'm not under any type of delusion I'm going to get an answer. However, when I contact Controller Tom Speak Napoli and I send him the transcript of what I'm saying here, I'm saying you refuse to answer. And you know he will conclude? That you're corrupt. That's when he'll conclude. Because I've been demanding this over and over about over time and a half. So, here, you have Jennifer Hyatt, $98,481.89. Are you my prosecutor in Penford Court before John P. Lomenzo Jr., Jennifer Hyatt? Who stood there in total silence and didn't say anything? Matthew Schwartz, 106,742.73. Are you Matthew Schwartz, my prosecutor, before this bald-headed $28,000 psychopath widow Paul C. Metzler that sent me to Livingston County Jail when you didn't talk? I don't know. Sandra only knows. So when Alex Renzi has me in New York State Supreme Court when I'm his defendant scout and he has total control over my life, just like John P. Lomenzo Jr. and Paul C. Metzler, I had two females standing behind me. So was that the Dawn C. Staub at 76,490.78 and Alyssa M. Truelove at 64,044.82. I don't know. You do. Tell me the names. It is insane that you're refusing to disclose the names of prosecutors in a public proceeding to me. And when I say it's insane, I didn't bring all my receipts because I'm at the library and I can't fit everything into my backpack. But this is sent to you on March 30th, 2023 and April 3rd, 2023. So this is UPS. I'm going to go with the most recent one, March 30th. Jamping there. They staple it here, so no particular order. Office of the Public Defender's Patronage Hive, Todd Baxter. I've said this now repeatedly. I'm going to write this down. I've not written this down yet for you. You Panino Mussolini skinhead party switchers, Doge and Cretan, who has destroyed my life. Jansen D. McNair. He's a double dipper just like you. Because he got his 20, and then he's hired the Office of Public Defender. Did you make a call to County Executive Adam Bell about him? I believe the answer is yes. I believe when I contact the county executive and ask him directly, you know what he's going to do? Refuse to answer. Refuse to answer a question from a citizen is always corruption, because that makes the citizen conclude that that public official wants to exist in secrecy and, to use the cliche, is hiding something. Todd Baxter, I'll say this again. Did you call the county executive about Jansen D. McNair to get him this patronage job at the Office of Public Integrity, where he's now a double dipper just like you? Regina Harper, I hope you know I once had respect for you. And it evaporated for a simple, easy to understand reason. And it's this question: what are the names of my prosecutors? And it's this answer from you, Regina Harper. Silence. And that's insane. What are the names of my prosecutors, Regina Harper? Mark Phillips, Public Defender's Office. All right, here's your name. Mark Phillips, I hope you know that I once had respect for you, and it evaporated because of this question you refused to answer. What are the names of my prosecutors, Mark Phillips? Mark Phillips, Public Defender, 10 North Fitzroy Street, Rochester, New York. 31 March. It's today's day. For 18 months I've been demanding this. This is the name that I believe can remove you each from office. I'm not trying to engage in any type of hyperbole, be hysterical. When I send her 1,000 pages, because I'm going to send her the transcript every time I've been on YouTube. It's now more than 100 times. Trinity Ross, United States Attorney, 138 Delaware Avenue, Buffalo, New York, 14202. I've contacted her, I think, at least 10 times now, using registered mail return receipt, which I just sent to her on Friday. This is a distinguished American at the most powerful institution in the United States of America that has more power than the White House. As Richard M. Nixon discovered. Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court. How many times do I have to say this? Sandra Doorley, I believe you personally forced me into Alex Renzi. I'm going to write this down, then you answer me. Have you ever talked to Alex Renzi about me? I'm not just any defendant in Monroe County. I believe no one knew what they were paid at district attorney's office until I acquired the payroll already. I could be incorrect about that, but that's what I believe. But given what I was doing to you before I met this hack and before I was elevated to supervising judge, I had been on YouTube at least 50 times demanding information from you and telling you, Sandra Doorley, that you're a sociopath and you're a criminal and you're corrupt. I believe you personally delivered me to Alex Renzi. What's the answer, District Attorney Sandra Doorley? Have you ever picked up the phone or had any conversation via the phone with supervising judge in New York State Supreme Court, Alex Renzi. Has any of your employees ever talked to supervising judge Alex Renzi about me? And what's the answer? An existence stone cold silence, you disgusting, sickening hacking diva. Terry Duckles, do I even have to say it? What are the names of my prosecutors? Of silence. I contacted you on January 1, 2023, so I can say moving forward every single day since January 1, I contacted you 4 months ago. It's insane to refuse to disclose these names to me. Would you agree with the use of that word, insane? Perry Duckles, would you agree with the fact that I've been prosecuted in total silence without a district attorney, assistant district attorney, ever uttering one word in court to describe and detail a crime? I'm just being convicted on paper. That's insane. For $113,000, you're refusing to disclose these names to me. I'm telling you on YouTube to disclose these names to me. I've contacted you, registered mail return receipt, and via UPS. The registered mail return receipt is now in your office. I sent it on Friday. Email, January 1. YouTube right here on this Google product. This UPS, the registered mail return receipt arrived. And you're still going to refuse to tell me the names of these hacks, sociopaths prosecuting me in silence, violating my civil constitutional rights. $113,000 Perry Duckles. Michelle Crowley, who indicts me when the grand jury is not convened. What am I talking about? I've said this over and over and over. Michelle Crowley, you should know. Michael Flynn and Don Benedetto hid on the private property of my 82-year-old neighbor in Penfield. They come running at me in the dark of night 2 years ago. I turn and run away. What am I going to say next, Michelle Crowley? You know. I believe you didn't know when you convened the grand jury to indict me. Julian and Benedetto run at me. I never stopped running. I get to the back porch. I had just grabbed a hammer alongside my bike and let them lie about that too, which they had to lie about. This is where the lie is going to occur. That's going to land me in Livingston County Jail. I place my foot on the first of 3 steps. Michael Houlihan grabs my arm. The hammer goes up like this. I pull away. I run through the sliding glass door. I never stop running. Do you understand, Michelle Crowley? For me to swing a hammer at psychopath cop Michael Houlihan, I'd have to stop in some way. My forward movement would have to stop because to swing a hammer, I'd have to be still. I ran the whole time through the sliding glass door, and this is on the body camera footage of Michael C. Houlihan or Don Benedetto or both. Did you see the body camera footage, Michelle Crowley, before you convened this grand jury of 18th and 24 anonymous cities to indict me? Do you even know what I'm talking about, you disgusting sick hack, or not? Why didn't you call me to the grand jury to testify in front of the grand jury that I don't know was convened, Michelle Crowley? Why didn't you call me on the phone, Michelle Crowley, to interview me about the facts and circumstances of this night when Michael Houlihan is going to be a perjurer before your grand jury? Why don't you respond to any of my writing to you? Because I've emailed you too. Because you're corrupt, Michelle Crowley. And the human being in Monroe County, corruptible above all others, even this bald-headed Benito Mussolini clone Todd Baxter, Sandra Doorley. Did you contact Alex Renzi about my appearance in his courtroom? Did you have any communication with Alex Renzi when I'm at my temporary residence, 70 Liberty Pole Way, and then I get a document in the mail that forces me going to Alex Renzi? What's the answer, District Attorney Sandra Doorley? I believe silence is a yes, because you could say to me, I didn't have any contact with supervising Judge Alex Renzi about you. So the other question is, has anybody at the District Attorney's Office had any communication whatsoever with Alex Renzi about me? Because he knows nothing. He just knows to pronounce me guilty. That's what he knows. He exists in total, complete ignorance. Just like all my prosecutors. So this is the computing engagement deputy, 955 Panorama Trial. I think that's you, Todd Thurston. I try not to impeach the character or use language to devalue the existence of anybody. I try to avoid that. And I don't know you, Todd Thurston. And I've talked to you previously on here. Is Richard J. Seatman out at Panorama Trial, Todd? He should be fired immediately. Not because of what he did to me. This is a violent psychopath cop, Todd. And that's why he should be fired, because he will attack other innocent citizens walking into Penfield Public Library and violently attacking me because I had a previous confrontation with him. There's something wrong with him. And another thing I'm going to get to momentarily after see the last name here is Todd Baxter. So Todd Thurston or Wayne Tadeo or Scott Alberti or Kathleen Miller, are there psychological evaluations, examinations for Monroe County Sheriff Office employees? Because there should be, especially for a violent psychopath like Richard J. Seaman. There also should be for the employees of the Sheriff's Office that comport themselves with the highest degree of integrity and decency, because I have met individuals like that are perhaps having problems in their private lives. And I'm sure you know about alcoholism in police departments and sheriff's offices all throughout the United States of America. I've noticed this in my own life with individuals I've known that have been in law enforcement. Alcoholism is really a tragedy for a police officer and someone in law enforcement because it absolutely impedes their ability to do the job, and they have to be physically fit to do the job. So there should be some type of program for two different types of sheriff office employees. They're the ones that should be retained in employment that comport themselves with character and integrity, that are having problems, either with alcohol or problems in their marriage that tens of millions of Americans have, and they can be counseled and helped by the sheriff's office. And that's the way it should be because of every good heart. And every boss should have something like this. The offices I've worked for in the Capitol and in Albany and in the House Rayburn building and the Senate Russell building for my employees, there were services, mental health services you could avail yourself to. I was told about how you could get help for a health staffer. That's how I'm talking about for Richard J. Seaman. He can't be helped. He's a violent psychopath. And Richard J. Seaman should be immediately fired. And there also should be some type of mental health evaluation to separate someone like Richard J. Seaman, where he goes through a process that's just not a 30-minute interview, a detailed process where the Monroe County Sheriff Office employee is forced into a room with trained professionals and doctors and given a series of questions, not some 15 or 30-minute evaluation. Something that can happen over a period of 48 to 72 hours because someone like him cannot survive and withstand an analysis of his personality because he's a violent psychopath, Richard J. Seaman. Fire Richard J. Seaman anyway. He violently attacked me. When I write the criminal complaint about him, he won't be fired because Todd Baxter embraces violence. That's why. So, who's doing this to me? It's so easy to disclose these names. I'm really astonished that you're refusing to disclose these names to me, Todd Baxter.
Sheriff Office employees, Wayne Tadeo, Michael Radler, Kathleen Miller, Scott Alberti. My name is Chris Chichester. I've been violently attacked repeatedly by Monroe County Sheriff Office employees at the Penfield Public Library by $75,000 Richard J. Seaman, by an unidentified Monroe County Sheriff Office employee at Wegmans and Monroe County Jail. Since I know the name and sound of Richard J. Seaman, it'll be easy for me to write the assault complaint about this psychopath. Richard J. Seaman and Paul C. Matson decided I'm going to be in Livingston County Jail, Geneseo. Two people decided where I'm finally tagged at the library, where they stalked me into the library. So, I believe that violence exacted upon me by Monroe County Sheriff Office employees means nothing to you, Michael Radler. Means nothing to you, William Tadeo. It means nothing to you, Kathleen Miller. And it means nothing to you, Scott Alberti. How old are you, Scott Alberti? Because I saw a photograph of you, I believe you were at an award ceremony promotion with Todd Baxter. Because I believe you're 50, over 50, but that's a guess. What's not a guess, you're 20 pounds overweight, and that's a disgrace. I've been demanding from Todd Baxter the physical fitness standards at the Sheriff's Office for 18 plus months, and he's refused for 18 plus months. And as he is a veteran, he has taken the PT test, which used to require soldiers to do push-ups, sit-ups, and a 2-mile run for a maximum score of 300 points. And Todd Baxter is placing the lives of his own Monroe County Sheriff Office employees at risk because his own Monroe County Sheriff Office employees are out of weight, no weight, and that's you, Scott Alberti. So I'm going to tell you about violence. I'm violently attacked at the Penfield Public Library by Richard J. Seaman. Now, I'm not going to dwell on that here in this 10 minutes that I have on this app because I know his name, and he won't be fired when I write the criminal complaint about him because Todd Baxter loves violence. This is the name of the Monroe County Sheriff Office employee. I don't know, but the female employee with the Marine-style haircut and tattoos can identify this psychopath that works for Todd Baxter, and this is why this app I use called TikTok is called Psychopaths Todd Baxter. Sworn officers of the law with a badge and holstered weapon are common thugs and criminals like Richard J. Seaman. Pay $75,000 to stalk me at the Penfield Public Library, and then Paul C. Nuts would decide I'm going to be in Livingston County Jail in Geneseo. So, I'm walking into Fairport to go to Gold's Gym, and I reach the pharmacy entrance to Wegmans. 5 Monroe County Sheriff Office vehicles converge on me at once. One of these cretins, one of these psychopaths, one of these thugs exits his vehicle, runs at me, drives his shoulder into my hip, and my head slammed down on the concrete pavement, Scott Alberti. What do you think about what I said? What do you think about what happened to me?
I'm going to tell you what you think. Doesn't matter. It's totally irrelevant. That I'm violently attacked by this unidentified Monroe County Sheriff Office employee where I had to get an MRI. I was taken immediately. I'm laying there in the concrete at the pharmacy entrance to Wegmans, and then the Monroe County Sheriff Office employee psychopath says to me, "Don't move, Chris." The 1984 of the minds of these employees of yours, Todd Baxter, is sickening. I'm taken to the MRI tube at the University of Rochester Medical Center. I'm inside the tube, and then the technician doing the test on me says, "Don't move your leg, Chris," or "Don't move your foot, Chris." I did not know my foot was moving. My foot is moving involuntarily inside an MRI tube because I was violently attacked at pharmacy entrance to Wegmans by this psychopath Monroe County Sheriff Office employee. Todd Baxter, if you cared about this, you'd call the female employee with the Marine-style haircut and tattoos and ask her about what she saw, or you'd call any of the other 10 psychopaths. I've been demanding use the Freedom of Information Law. If you have an arresting officer assigned to every arrest, you know what the answer to that is? It's no. It's in the FOIL. It says, do you have an arresting officer? Because then that arresting officer is accountable for the facts and circumstances of an arrest when violence descends on a citizen. And then you can ask the arresting officer the facts and circumstances of violence descending on an innocent citizen. And you want to shield your employees from violence. And you want to endorse violence for your own employees. That's why there's no arresting officer, Todd Baxter. So, who is it, who the freaks? It's so easy to answer this question. Who the employees are doing this to me at the district attorney's office here is Michael L. Robertson, 86-111 and 96, my prosecutor before Paul C. Metzer, the boy who stood there and didn't talk. I don't know, you do. Is Diana Ferretti at 62-504 and 29 cents, my prosecutor before John P. Lomenzo Jr., who didn't talk because I'm delivered to Monroe County Jail. I don't know, you do. In my last appearance in Penfield Town Court, when Alex Renzi said I was finished and done, there was the 2 females standing behind me. Do I have 2 female employees standing behind me assigned to my appearance for Alex Renzi that are Constance A. Patterson at $67,376 and Camille M. Ignino at $63,475. I don't know. You know. What are their names? Tell me what their names are. Tell me the names of my prosecutors' sons, and you're refusing every single time. So those names I just read there is just a guess here. And corruption requires repetition. This is attached in PDF on this date, April 29th. Documentation for the case for Christopher charges for John P. Lomenzo Jr. Penfield Town Court. What is the name of the prosecutor? Sandra Doorley. Documentation for the case of Christopher Johnson for Paulson, Master Downtown Court. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley? Documentation for the case of Christopher Johnson, New York State Supreme Court for Alex Renzi. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley? If Zachary Baxter, Kevin Baxter, Sheriff Todd Baxter, was in jail without a prosecutor talking in court, one judge had total control of the lives of your two sons, your wife, Mary Baxter, would be in a rage about that. If Erin Doorley was in jail, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, without a prosecutor talking in court, and this psychopath judge had total control over the lives of your daughter, you and your husband, Bill Lofton, would be in a rage about that. I guarantee it. The lives of others don't matter to you. Because you're psychopaths, that's why. So, I'm demanding sexual harassment. Facts and circumstances. I'm demanding is if it exists. That's what I'm demanding. This is on April 10th. Sexual harassment, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra and Judge Alex Renzi. And it says here on this April 10th, of course, you refuse because you're corrupt. Mail names about prosecutor sons, the address below Rochester, New York, read the 6 attached PDF documentation, answer me about sexual harassment officers resign. Then use different links here. Sexual harassment, degenerates, court order, Laura Riley. I'm talking to my ex-girlfriend about a court order that's required to 1, lock the doors, lock me out, and 2, take every single thing to a store's locker. When I write a criminal complaint about her, I'm confident she's not going to be arrested, prosecuted, or anything like that. 1, because it's me, and 2, you don't know what a crime is. So, refusal, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra, Judge Alex Renzi. YouTube corruption, fanaticism, Penfield Court, $28,000 Paulson Messler. Redirect defendants away from this $28,000 vile, disgusting, sick hack so you don't have innocent citizens in jail. This Paulson Messler is evil. It does not matter to her the facts and circumstances of any criminal charge. She wants to have control and power over life and destroy that life. And she celebrates the fact that she can have control and power over life when she exists in total and complete ignorance as to the facts and circumstances of a criminal charge. So, Todd Baxter, is it a crime to walk through a parking lot? You believe it is. Is it a crime to walk through a parking lot 4,000 times? You believe it is. So this is how many times I've sent you the Freedom of Information Law. I think there are 2,000 documents, 3,000 documents. I lost track how many documents are on there. This is where I used to live in Lofton, Rochester next Trend Center with Park Avenue, over and over, and refused to comply with every single one of them. The psychopaths are coming over. This is where I used to live before my life was destroyed by you. There's your employee right there. What's he doing at my residence? It's a joke. Different day. They were never there before I was on YouTube. Here he is again. Another guy here. There's everything. That's a knife right there I carry around with me. Anybody that doesn't have personal protection in the city of Rochester, I would come in, I put these documents on the floor, I take the knife off my belt, I put it right there. You have to have some type of protection in the city of Rochester because of the violence that exists in the city. So, what I don't have, Todd Baxter, I don't have my original D-214 from 2nd Squadron, 17 Cavalry, 101st Airborne Division because of you. It's gone because of my eviction. And I've said this over and over, broken record alert, coming to my residence, demand my little guy. The cops showing up to the home of an innocent citizen, demand his dog. This really delivers me to an anger that I sometimes find it difficult to control when I'm not on YouTube and I'm just thinking about showing up to my residence, demand my dog. When I go back to a dog adoption society, when I move to Albany, I'll be turned down because of everything that's happened to me. And what's happened to me is fanaticism and corruption and hatred and buffoonery that I never thought that I would experience in my long life of 57 years. And it doesn't matter to you, the prosecutor doesn't talk in court. Because you're corrupt. That's why it doesn't matter to you. So this says refusal on April 7th, and you refused. And you're going to refuse again. When I just read those Freedom of Information Law documents, this word here applies to you again today. You're going to refuse to disclose the names of my prosecutor's silence, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, because you're corrupt. My name is Christopher Chichester. I live in Rochester, New York. I'm an innocent man.